this video, what you attract in life is a reflection of who you are, not just what you wish for. This motivational message dives into the power of self-awareness, growth, and identity, reminding you that real change starts from within. To attract better, you must become better. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. That idea might sound direct, even a little uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Desire alone doesn't bring success. Wanting more money won't make you wealthy. Wishing for love won't draw the right person into your life. Because life doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your identity, your habits, your energy, your character. If your results aren't changing, the issue isn't that your dreams are too ambitious. It's that your daily habits are too small. It's not that life is unfair. It's that your foundation hasn't yet caught up with your vision. And that's what this message is really about. Becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the life you've been chasing. When you grow, everything around you begins to shift. Raise your discipline and opportunity shows up. Raise your standards and your outcomes follow suit. Change your internal energy and your influence expands. So let's talk about how transformation really happens. Starting with a simple truth, the mirror principle. Life is a mirror. It doesn't reflect what you want. It reflects who you are. Just like a mirror shows your physical reflection, life shows you a reflection of your mindset, your habits, your effort. Your income reflects the value you deliver. Your relationships reflect the energy and boundaries you bring. Your health reflects your routines and discipline. Your peace reflects your thoughts. If you don't like what you see, don't blame the mirror. Blaming the economy, your boss, your past, that changes nothing. Instead, change the reflection. Work on the person standing in front of the mirror. Because here's the truth. You don't get more by wishing for more. You get more by becoming more. You can't skip this step. You can't bypass self-mastery and expect lasting success. The external always mirrors the internal. And the good news? You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Start small. Wake up a little earlier. Read a few more pages. Speak more kindly. Clean up just one part of your life. Small shifts in the mirror compound into massive change. And the mirror never lies. It won't flatter you, but it will show you where to begin. Wanting more versus becoming more. Everyone wants more. More time, more money, more freedom, more love. And desire is a great starting point, but it's not the finish line. Because you don't get paid for wanting. You get paid for value. You don't earn opportunities by hoping for them. You earn them through preparation. You don't attract success because you need it. You attract it because you've earned it. Dreaming big is beautiful, but dreams without discipline, just fantasies. Wishing won't change your life. Becoming will. So instead of saying, I want more, ask yourself, who must I become in order to receive more? Want more income? Become more valuable. Want better relationships? Become a better communicator. Want more peace? Become more disciplined in your thinking. The result will never exceed the identity. You cannot outperform the person you are on the inside. That's why becoming always comes before receiving. People chase outcomes, but the outcome is just a mirror. Don't chase the result, build the person. The results will follow. Every single time, ask yourself, what habits need upgrading? What beliefs need challenging? What disciplines need strengthening? That's the real work. That's the path. Because once you shift from wishing to working, from chasing to becoming, everything changes. You stop waiting and start creating. You stop hoping and start building. And soon enough, what you used to chase begins to show up, effortlessly. Not because you forced it, but because you grew into it. Here's what most people miss. The goal isn't just to have more. The real goal is to deserve more. Because when you've grown into it, you can sustain it. You can enjoy it. You can teach it. You can repeat it. But when you get more than you've become, it slips away. Money without wisdom disappears. Love without character fades. Success without identity collapses. So the challenge is this. Don't just wish for a better life. Become the person who creates one. Because life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And the best part? You can always become more. Raise your standards, raise your life. If you want to transform your life, don't start with your goals. Start with your standards. Because here's the truth. You don't get what you wish for. You don't even get what you work for. You get what you tolerate. Look around. Your life right now is a reflection of the standards you've allowed. And until you raise them, nothing changes. So ask yourself, what are you tolerating that you know deep down you shouldn't be? Mediocre effort? Toxic relationships? Low energy? Weak habits? Missed opportunities? Whatever you tolerate, you reinforce. And what you reinforce becomes your normal. But here's the good news. You can elevate your life by elevating what you demand from yourself. Raise the standard, and the results will follow. When you raise your standard for health, your choices shift. When you raise your standard for time, your priorities sharpen. When you raise your standard for wealth, your income eventually reflects it. Not immediately, but inevitably. Because standards set the baseline, the threshold of what you allow and what you reject. Goals are what you want. Standards are what you require. And when something becomes non-negotiable, you find a way. It becomes part of your identity. You start saying, "This is who I am now. This is how I live. This is what I accept." Now hear this. Raising your standards doesn't mean chasing perfection. It doesn't mean pressuring yourself to be flawless. It means drawing a line and saying, "I don't live like that anymore. I don't miss workouts. I don't waste time like I used to. I don't keep people in my life who drag me backward." You stop negotiating with your weaknesses. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to rise. Because the world respects someone with standards. Someone who leads themselves. Someone who says, "I've raised the bar, and I'm not lowering it." And here's the reward. When you raise your standards, you raise your confidence. You start trusting yourself again. You feel aligned. You feel strong. You feel grounded. And that new energy, that self-respect, it draws in better people, better opportunities, better outcomes. Not because you got lucky, but because you changed what you stood for. So here's your challenge. Take inventory. Ask yourself, what am I settling for that no longer matches the future I say I want? Then raise it. Not someday. Not next week. Right now. Because the moment your standards rise, your life will rise with them. The currency of attraction. Here's something to sit with. Success doesn't just respond to talent. It doesn't only show up for the ambitious. Long-term success, the kind that lasts, responds to character. Because your reputation isn't built on what you know. It's built on how you live. Character is the real currency. It's the invisible force that attracts visible rewards. People want to work with those they can trust. They want to follow leaders who are grounded, consistent, and true. They want to be around people who embody integrity, strength, and humility. Now understand this. Character isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Day by day. Decision by decision. Discipline by discipline. It's how you show up when no one's watching. It's how you respond when things don't go your way. It's whether you keep your word when it's inconvenient to do so. Yes, charm might open doors. Yes, shortcuts might bring temporary wins. But what you attract without character, you'll eventually lose. Character is what keeps the door open after talent gets you inside. It's what earns you trust. It's what makes people say, "I can count on this person." And that's what makes success sustainable. So ask yourself honestly, what kind of person are you becoming? Are you dependable? Are you disciplined? Do you follow through long after motivation fades? That's character. Not perfection. Just consistency. Just honesty. Build that and everything else begins to align. Raise your standards, raise your life. If you want to transform your life, don't start with your goals. Start with your standards. Because here's the truth. You don't get what you wish for. You don't even get what you work for. You get what you tolerate. Your current reality is a reflection of the standards you've settled for. And until you raise those standards, nothing changes. So ask yourself, what are you tolerating that you know you shouldn't be? Half-hearted effort? Draining relationships? Weak habits? Missed chances? Whatever you tolerate, you normalize, and whatever you normalize becomes your life. But here's the good news. You can change your entire life by changing what you expect from yourself. Raise your standard, and the result will rise to meet it. Elevate your standard for your health, and your habits will follow. Raise your standard for your time, and your schedule will shift. Demand more from your finances, and your income will begin to reflect that. Not overnight, but inevitably. Standards are not goals. Goals are what you want. Standards are what you accept. And when something becomes non-negotiable, you find a way to make it real. It's a declaration. This is who I am now. This is what I require of myself. Raising your standards doesn't mean chasing perfection. It means refusing to keep living beneath your potential. It means saying, I don't skip workouts. I don't waste time. I don't tolerate energy that pulls me backward. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop waiting for permission. You start owning your life. And here's the reward. When you raise your standards, you rebuild trust with yourself. You feel stronger. You carry yourself with conviction. And that new energy, it attracts better opportunities, better people, and better outcomes, not by chance, but by choice. So here's your challenge. Take inventory. What are you settling for that doesn't align with your future? Draw the line, raise the bar, and do it now. Because the moment you raise your standards, your life begins to rise with them. The currency of attraction. Success doesn't just follow talent. It doesn't chase intelligence. Long-term, lasting success responds to character. Because reputation isn't built on what you know. It's built on how you live. Character is the silent force that speaks the loudest. It's how you show up when no one's watching. It's your ability to stay disciplined, keep your word, and act with integrity when it would be easier not to. Yes, charm can open the door, but only character keeps it open. Without it, success slips away. With it, opportunity multiplies. Because people don't follow resumes, they follow consistency. They're drawn to those who lead themselves with strength and truth. So ask yourself, who am I becoming? Am I dependable? Do I follow through when motivation fades? Do I make the hard decisions when no one's looking? That's character. And character is magnetic. When you respect yourself, the world feels it. You walk differently. You speak with weight. You live with purpose. Low character attracts chaos. High character attracts excellence. If the right doors aren't opening, the question isn't, what am I missing? It's, who am I becoming? Build yourself into someone success can trust. Because in the end, character doesn't just define your path. It proves you're ready for it. Energy is contagious, and so is mediocrity. Here's a truth worth remembering. Energy walks into the room before you do. People feel you, your urgency, your confidence, your presence, or your doubt, your exhaustion, your resignation. Energy doesn't lie. You can have the skill, the vision, the plan. But if your energy says, I've already given up, nothing opens. Because high-level opportunity doesn't respond to low-level energy. Would you follow someone uninspired? Would you trust someone who complains, drags their feet, or moves without purpose? Of course not. So don't just manage your schedule. Manage your spirit. Because just like energy is contagious, so is mediocrity. Spend time around people who settle, and you'll start lowering your standards too. Hang around cynics, and you'll begin to doubt. But surround yourself with people on fire, and your fire grows. Your energy is your signal. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. Move with urgency. Speak with clarity. Lead with conviction. Be the one who lifts the room, not the one who drains it. If you want to attract the best, show up as your best. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you earn. Let's clear something up. Life doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you earn. Yes, you deserve love, success, peace. But deserving is not a strategy. Action is. Discipline is. Execution is. People say, I try my best. I work hard. I'm a good person. Why am I still stuck? Because effort alone isn't enough. Without growth, direction, and consistency, effort becomes frustration. Life rewards what you produce, not what you intend. You don't get healthy because you deserve it, you train for it. You don't get wealth because you want it, You earn it through skill, risk, and relentless discipline. You don't rise to your hopes, you rise to your habits. So stop waiting for life to deliver what you think you're owed. Start earning the life you want to own. The gap between what you say you deserve and what you actually earn, that's your growth zone. That's your work. And when your actions finally match your ambition, results stop being rare. They become inevitable, earned, not given. Fill your life with discipline. Fill it with effort. Fill it with action. Because when you've earned something, you don't have to beg for it. It comes to you. It belongs to you. And no one can take it from you. You want more out of life? Don't just think bigger. Do better. Earn it. The hidden work that builds a life people feel. Here's something most never talk about. The life people admire in public is built in private. The recognition, the relationships, the respect, those are just the results. What people see is the surface. What builds it is the hidden work. The early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices no one claps for, the discipline it takes to keep showing up long after motivation is gone. That's where the real foundation is laid. People are drawn to quiet strength, to stability, to intentional living. They gravitate toward those who know who they are and where they're going. And here's the truth. You can't fake that. You can't post your way into presence. You've got to become the real thing. That presence, the kind that pulls people in, is built when you do the hidden work. When you keep promises to yourself. When you choose discipline over distraction. When you read instead of scroll. When you say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what actually matters. That's what gives you weight. That's what gives you gravity. That's what makes people stop and think, there's something different about this person. And here's what's powerful. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to promote it. You don't have to talk about it. Because when you've done the work speaks for you. People feel it in your confidence. They hear it in your tone. They see it in the way you move, the way you treat people, the way you carry yourself. That's how real leaders are built, not through titles or attention, but through character and quiet consistency. This kind of life isn't always exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not fast, but it's real, and the results are lasting. You want to attract strong relationships? Become strong. You want to lead others? Learn to lead yourself. You want people to trust you? Be trustworthy, especially when it's inconvenient. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more substance. And substance is built in the shadows, not in the spotlight. So here's the challenge. Build a life that people feel when they're around you. Not because you're loud, but because you're rooted. Not because you're impressive, but because you're real. Calm presence. A steady hand. A focused mind. That's rare, and people will notice. You won't have to chase attention when your life speaks for itself. Just keep doing the hidden work. One day, the results will be impossible to ignore. Associations follow identity. If you want to know where your life is headed, take a close look at the people around you. Because your associations don't just reflect your environment, they reinforce your identity. You don't attract who you want. You attract who you are. Winners walk with winners. Thinkers walk with thinkers. Disciplined people find each other. And those living in chaos tend to gather more of the same. So if you're serious about growth, about real transformation, you've got to ask, who am I becoming? Not who do I hope to be? Not who am I trying to look like? But who am I really, when no one's watching? Because your relationships, your mentors, your opportunities, they don't come from your potential. They come from your identity. Show up like someone who's consistent, committed, and clear, and guess what? You'll start to attract people who live the same way. And if you're carrying doubt, confusion, laziness, or fear, you'll naturally find people who make that feel normal. Your circle doesn't change until you do. Because like attracts like. People ask me, how do I find better people to connect with? The answer is simple. Stop trying to find them. Focus on becoming someone they'd naturally want to be around. You want to associate with driven, focused, high-level individuals? Show up like someone who belongs in that room. Not by pretending, not by performing, but by living with standards that speak for themselves. People are drawn to those who live the values others only talk about. So here's a question worth sitting with. Would you follow you? Would you want to be mentored by you? Would the people you admire feel aligned with your current mindset, actions, and habits? If the answer is no, don't chase them. Grow into someone they can't ignore. The level of discipline, focus, and integrity. Ask yourself, am I truly showing up with discipline, focus, and integrity? If the answer is no, don't feel shame. Feel clarity. That's not a failure. That's feedback. It's a signal that there's room to grow, and that's a gift. Because now, you're no longer blind to what needs work. You've found your edge. Raise your identity, and your associations will rise with it. Yes, it might take time. Yes, it might feel isolating for a season. But on the other side of your evolution are people and opportunities waiting for the version of you you're building. Don't beg to be included. Build until you can't be overlooked. Because when your identity shifts, everything shifts. Your conversations deepen. Your standards sharpen. And the people around you either grow with you or fall away. That's not ego. That's alignment. Over time, your circle should reflect your values, not your history. So if you're searching for the right people, don't start with networking. Start with becoming. Because identity attracts tribe. And your future will rise or fall with the people you allow near your purpose. What you're attracting today isn't luck, punishment, or reward. It's the natural consequence of who you've been becoming. There's a delay in life. You plant the seed now, but the harvest comes later. You build the habits in silence, but the rewards echo in time. It's not about what you did this morning. It's about the patterns you've been repeating for months, years, quietly, consistently. So if you're frustrated with where you are, don't panic. Understand, the life you're living now is a reflection of the past, not a sentence for the future. That's powerful, because it means you can change the future by changing yourself, starting now. Too many people look at their reality and say, I guess this is just who I am. But your current situation is not your identity. It's a reflection. And reflections change when the source does. Your body, it reflects how you've been fueling it. Your bank account, a reflection of your financial decisions. Your relationships, a mirror of how you've shown up emotionally, spiritually, consistently. So don't judge your potential by today's results. Judge it by the direction you're committed to. Success isn't built in a day, but it is built every day, in small, invisible, quiet decisions. If things haven't changed, ask yourself, have I? If not, that's your entry point. Shift your identity, upgrade your habits, raise your internal standards, and trust the process. Because growth works always. It doesn't shout. It builds. And eventually, the results will catch up. Your rewards will match your readiness. So here's the challenge. If you want life to look different next week, next month, next year, start becoming that person today. Because life is watching. Not your words, but your consistency. Not your declarations, but your effort. When you become the person who contributes more, expects more, and lives with discipline, you start to attract more. Not because you're lucky, but because you're ready. Become someone worth following. If you want to lead, lead yourself first. If you want to influence, live it before you teach it. Because people don't follow noise. They follow example. And every day, whether you know it or not, someone is watching. Your children, your friends, your coworkers, your community. And what they see matters more than what you say. Anyone can talk. But it's who you are when no one's watching that earns real respect. The quiet consistency. The unseen sacrifices. That's what builds a life worth following. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be authentic. Clear in your values. Consistent in your behavior. That's how trust is built. That's how influence grows. That's how leadership becomes legacy. If you want people to believe in you, show them you believe in yourself. If you want others to rise, let them see you rise. If you want to inspire change, start by living it. So here's your real aim. Don't just chase leadership. Become it. Become the kind of person who earns loyalty. The kind of person whose word carries weight. The kind of person who doesn't cut corners or make excuses. Because when you do that, everything changes. The right doors open. The right people show up. Not because you demanded attention, but because you became magnetic. It's not about being loud. It's about being solid. Not about popularity, but principles. Not about being followed, but being someone worth following. In a world full of noise, people are starving for substance. They're watching, waiting, hoping to find someone real. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for a title. Start building that version of you now. Wanting versus becoming. Let's bring it all back. You started this journey wanting more. More progress. More results. More success. And that desire matters. It's the spark. But here's the truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. That's the principle. That's what separates wishing from winning. The world doesn't respond to want. It responds to identity, to your mindset, to your energy, to your habits, to your standards. You don't rise to the level of your hopes. You rise to the level of your preparation. You rise to the level of the person you've been becoming quietly, steadily. So the final challenge is this. Stop waiting for the life you want. Start becoming the person who naturally attracts it. Don't say, I want peace. Become the kind of person who lives with calm, focus, and gratitude. Don't say, I want more money. Become more valuable, more skilled, more disciplined with what you already have. Don't say, I want better people. Raise your standard and you'll attract others who live by theirs. The shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Stop chasing. Start becoming. Stop asking, how can I get more? Start asking, who must I become? Because when you grow, your world expands. When you improve, your results follow. When you elevate your identity, your income, your influence, and your impact rise to meet it. So from this moment forward, make a decision. Stop chasing, start building. Stop hoping, start earning. Stop waiting, start becoming. Because everything you want is already out there. Not someday, not in the distant future, but waiting on one thing, the next version of you. That's the version who attracts the life you've been dreaming about. Not through force, but through alignment. And the moment you become ready to receive it, that's when it starts to arrive. Thanks for watching.